My name is Max, and I'm with my friend Adrian. We're talking about Outland, 1981. Movie starring Sean Connery. Fresh off, well, not really fresh off, kind of stale off of his run in the 007 franchise.
Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
It's a movie about a sheriff taking down a narco-terrorist ring. So, Adrian, would you like to talk a little bit about the context of this movie, I guess?
Sure. I think it's important to note that 1981, you can see this very obviously from even the opening shots. It's definitely leaning a lot on Alien, maybe a little on Star Wars, which had only come out a couple years prior. It's definitely wants to be like a space neo-western. Both of those franchises sort of were. Actually, wait. I guess Alien is not really a western. Alien
is not a western, but this movie it's based off of. A lot of people make comparisons to High Noon, a movie I've never seen.
A good movie. I mean, you know the basic premise, right? Sheriff, the bandits come. They want to take over the town. The sheriff is willing to fight to defend the town, but the townspeople are too cowardly. Even his own subordinates show cowardice, like the deputy. And then there's this big showdown, but he, it's this heroic moment. He's actually able to triumph. That's in broad strokes, basically the premise of this movie. A man stands up for what he believes is right, even though everyone else doesn't have the courage to support him.
If you're the kind of guy you're supposed to be, you wouldn't stick around. That's why they sent you here.
So we start off the movie, a moon, Io, literally spelled I-O. All the people on this base, they're on a tour of duty, so it seems like we're in this private military sort of situation, very similar to Alien, right? You open the movie, they're on this three-part sort of moon base, and people, they're coming out of the moon base, they're mining for
titanium,
some sort of titanium on this moon. And a guy, he starts hallucinating something, and he falls off this raised area, and his head explodes. Turns into a tomato. Apparently this has been a reoccurring thing on the space station for a little bit. And Sean Connery, he calls in a bunch of people, different people on this space station. They do basic captain's log, whatever. Talks a little bit to his family. They're not really having a fun time on here. There's not a lot of other families on the ship.
It's a child. He's never set foot on Earth. Never.
I don't know. They have a staff meeting. And they talk a little bit about, this accident. And some people are I think some people, they're just kind of saying this is par for the course. Maybe I'm misremembering that. You remember?
They were very nonchalant about it, yes. That things happen, whatever, cabin fever.
Yep. And Sean Connery, the main guy, he's just not buying any of it. There's one guy who, I think he's the head of security or something. And he's very much... cavalier about this whole thing. So you kind of know he's not really a good guy. But there's another person on the board who's a pretty good friend of the main character.
He's an asshole. He's a very powerful asshole. Don't mess with him.
He's just trying to sniff you out.
They're kind of shrugging this off. And O'Neill and Montone, they're kind of saying, it looks like there's something up here. And then they're all about to go on a second mining adventure, and a guy, he just takes off his suit, he goes into the airlock, and he he goes down all the way to the mining area, and he just kind of kills himself.
Yeah, he's smiling in a creepy way while he does it.
Yeah, so you're already kind of guessing in the beginning of this movie, and at least this was true for me. I don't know if it was true for you. I think you've already seen this. But I was sort of expecting, because I had no idea where this movie was going. I was sort of expecting, maybe there's a ghost. Maybe there's some sort of, malfunction. And there's something in the air. But no, we learn a little bit more that there's something else going on. But before we get to that point, Sean Connery goes back to his area, and apparently his wife left him. She's going.
She doesn't want to be stuck on a tiny little space colony where it's all sweaty, gross men. She wants to go back to Earth.
The son, he has never tasted fresh air. And when we were discussing this, I mean, you kind of point this out, but they're all like smoking in like these,
yeah,
like enclosed spaces. It's very 1981 for sure.
Yeah, I remember when we were watching. I pointed out that like this is a crazy thing to even think about, but like submariners in World War II were allowed to smoke like in the submarine.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's insane. I don't know what the health effects would be for that. I'm guessing it was fine as long as the...
I mean, it's at most like secondhand smoke, which, as we know, is a myth.
I mean, I don't know about that, but that could be disputed. That's just kind of like a health fact. The Montone guy, he comes back in, and he's like, hey, look, I heard about the story. I heard about your wife leaving you. Well, you can have a fun time with all these prostitutes, right? And Sean Connery, he's just looking at this guy, and he's like, that's not happening.
Yeah, it was very ballsy.
Second time I did a tour, I got back. My wife had skipped off with some guy who was a computer programmer.
And there's sort of a tense scene where Sean Connery and the Montone guy, they're setting up like a distraction, right? So O'Neill, he's in the front of the door. He's trying to calm this guy down. He's trying to reason with him, and Montone, he's climbing up into the ventilation area to get to where this guy's at. I think they shut down the power, kind of freaks out the guy for a little bit, and Montone, he jumps down.
Very reminiscent of like RoboCop ultra violence. Like 80s was like an apex of just like bright red blood, like
tons of squibs shooting. And then like you would see people's bones coming out of their legs. And
I mean, yes, there was some of that, but I think I don't know what this movie was rated. I doubt it was rated. I mean, it was an R movie. I doubt it was rated much higher than that, right?
When was PG-13 first a thing? I think it was
Temple of Doom.
Yeah, the Temple of Doom, right? First PG-13.
And that's 89, 87, something like that? 86, actually, now I'm thinking about it.
It takes a while for the rated R that we know to come about, because even back then, you had PG movies that today could be considered like rated R or PG-13. The censors, they work kind of off of a different scale now.
Is she going to be all right?
Maybe, if you let me do my job.
So after this happened, Montone and O'Neill, they're kind of interested in what actually triggered this attack. They're wheeling in the body into the space station's medical area, and here you meet a recurring character, which is the nurse, and she reveals that the individual who is going crazy, and it seems like everyone else on the ship, they were actually on drugs.
Those stupid bastards are taking polydichloric euthymol.
He kind of finds out that the guy we were talking about earlier, who's head of security, turns out his name's Shepard. He's clearly negotiating in a lot of these drugs that are coming. And he finds out that Montone, he's also involved in this whole area. And Montone, he's not really a huge fan of it. And he finds out maybe it's not best to tie my name into this whole drug trade, especially now that this guy who represents the sheriff of the station knows about it. And he kind of knows, hey, look, if I give him some evidence, I'll have some leeway. Maybe I won't be in as much trouble whenever all the sentencing happens. And so he decides to comply with the sheriff when it comes to this whole investigation.
Just don't come between Shepard and me. Just keep taking your money and looking the other way.
And so they're running around. They're seeing some of these people they're dealing some of these drugs. And he's running out with a shotgun, right? Trying to track this guy down. And this is the scene where they're about to head into the cafeteria, right? And then they go past the serving station, and they're kind of in the kitchen, and they're shooting each other. It's a pretty intense scene. Have anything to say about it?
When they're running through the cafeteria.
Yeah, because I don't know if like the version of the movie we watched, it was like very high res. But for a while, you're kind of like thinking, hey, look, is this some sort of lever action shotgun? Which would also make it way more, Wild West.
Sure. We figured out it was a pump. He was pumping it, or I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I
anyways,
think so.
I mean, it still has the the feel of that Wild West situation.
Sure.
Montone and O'Neill, they soon take the drug dealer and they suspend him in a cell. They move in and they claim that, hey, look, we should probably investigate Shepard once again. We should see what he has to say about all these dealers that we do have in custody. So they interrupt him in his office.
Yeah,
There's a huge debate.
He's playing golf on, oh man.
On a projector, yeah. I mean, this is kind of
old, like, school projectors that you're going to pull down. And
yeah, and we were talking about this because you're kind of debating me. I was thinking about it. It's like back then you had Ataris, you had, maybe like a Galaga machine, but this was way before they had this, projector golf. Like,
I think I agree with you that, yeah, the kind of motion capture you would need for an accurate golf machine like that probably didn't exist.
Real proud.
O'Neill goes back to his barracks and he finds that Montone is dead. He finds out that the dealer that he took, well, he's dead too. And he goes back to Shepard and he makes certain veiled threats and notes that there's a new shipment of the drugs that are coming. So he's trying to get ready for this final showdown that's going to happen when all the suppliers come onto the base and refill all this drug supply. And before he does this, he gets a message from his family, right? And his family's like, hey, look, in an hour, we're going to be gone. Like, in a day, we're going to be gone or whatever. So, if you want to hop off with us, you have to get to this area. And he's like, no, I can't do that. I need to figure out where this ends. And it's very cliche, but he kind of knows what's going to happen the next day. And the wife is like, you always put yourself in danger, kind of hinting that she knows if he doesn't make it out here, he's not going to make it out alive, and this might be the last time, she sees him. And he doesn't really confirm that that's going to be the case, but he just sort of says, I love you, and he also says bye to his son, and he's kind of treating it very seriously. And that's the time that you have the refill ship coming in, right? And so he waits for the drug smugglers to come on, and they come in groups. And there's two main people, right? So the first person, who's like the sniper, he's trying to find this person, he's trying to get him, and I think he gets him twice, kind of in the arm. Yeah, and then there's the other guy with the shotgun. And so he's working, like you said before, with the nurse. And they kind of trap the guy inside one of the areas between, like, the two parts of the station. And so because he's outside of the station, he's able to actually shoot the seams, right, of this, like, area. And so before it's kind of too late, he doesn't realize until it's, like, too late that, oh shoot, like, I'm kind of stuck in here, and he blows up.
Epic style.
Yeah, he gets blown up epic style. And the second guy, who's the sniper, he's kind of aware that at this point, Sean Connery, O'Neill, he's running out to the greenhouse area. And I think there's like one more person that's over there too. And they have a fight. It's like him and another guy in a spacesuit. They're right in front of a wall that like electrocutes you. And so he just like kind of shoots the guy who's like getting electrocuted. Oh no,
wait, I'm trying to think, Sean Connery, like the Bond thing. I believe it was a Roger Moore Bond.
Moonraker.
Yeah. And that is Roger. It's not Connery that does that movie, I believe, right?
No, it's
yes, it's Roger Moore. Yeah,
it's Roger Moore.
79. Although I think maybe we are overlooking the influence that Moonraker had on this movie, especially given Sean Connery, because that was supposed to be like kind of like an innovative action movie being set in space.
Yes, but if I remember, the reception of that movie was really bad. No one was a huge fan of it. Could be.
No. I mean, critically, it may have been panned. I know that it didn't age well in most people's, but look at the budget versus box office. If you just look Made 7 times its budget in the box
Okay.
office.
Okay,
So,
I may be wrong.
People loved it. I mean, maybe the critics didn't. One of those cases.
There's also another sniper that tries to take a shot of O'Neill when he's inside the greenhouse, but that just totally destroys all of the glass, and he kind of kills himself because that whole area, I guess, it was just protected by glass, and not even bulletproof glass. The more you think about it, it doesn't really make any sense, but I don't know. It's a comical kill, and with the last guy down, the drugs are gone. O'Neill goes back to his family. And there's a happily ever after. The end. Overall, I'd probably give this movie an 8 out of 10. If a movie has a 9 out of 10, it's really trying to do something special, in my point of view, or at least the director, maybe it's like their pet project and they've been working on it for years or something like that, and they've completely sort of met their expectations or exceeded it. I think Outland, it kept its expectations low. There are only a couple of sets that are here and there, and it's a very contained story. It's a very simple story. And I think they achieved what they wanted to do. And I think they even exceeded it to an extent. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I would say that is a fair rating. I mean, yeah, it did exactly what it was setting out to do, and you're right in the way that it does it. It's just such a simple story told well. It actually elevates the simple story by just being like, there's like a profundity to just competently telling a simple story.
Oh yeah, and I mean, look, if Roger Corman made this movie, it would have been awful. It would have been like maybe like a 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10.
Yeah, there would have been way too much schmaltz, way too much like a deliberating of yeah. Should I go? Oh, my family. Like for this protagonist, like him, like yes, the conflict is there in his universe, but it's like he's your classic leading man. He doesn't hesitate.
And the writing is
what he
good.
has to do. Yeah.
When he's talking to his family, I mean, they take things out, and everything's sort of implicit. It doesn't shove everything down your throat. So, it's nice.
It's not schmaltzy.
Respects the audience. Out of all those movies that we watched recently, I think this is definitely one of the better ones.
I think this is the strongest in my opinion. Even though I do have a butt for John Carter, I think this would take the edge if I had to rate them.
So 8 out of 10. Definitely watch this movie. If you're really bored and you have nothing else to do.
Hey, it's a pretty short movie. I think that's a credit to it as well. I'm a big believer in a movie that does not waste your time.